I am actually just going to jump right into the sermon. We're going to skip the theme and the circle, not because I want to or it's not important, but we have a lot to cover today, and I am super excited. The doer will be blessed in his doing. How many of us believe that as Christians? Right? The Bible tells us the doer will be blessed in his doing. We were away on vacation last week, and by the way, a huge thank you to both Brent and to Jared, who's not here today, for covering for me while I was away. And I'm grateful for everybody who covered, and that was very kind and nice. And it's nice to be able to step away and be able to come back, and you know that everything functioned the way it should function. So thank you all. But we were away, we went to Wisconsin and then Chicago and then Gary, Indiana, because we wanted to hit like the glamorous place of the United States for our kids. And then from Gary, Indiana, we went up to Michigan, stayed with our in-laws. While I was there, I was visiting with a friend, and we have another mutual friend who does a ministry that's just a tough ministry. And she is an example of somebody who gets into the lives of people and just works and works and works, puts all of her faith and trust in God. She is a doer. And when we were there in Michigan, I knew about our friend. She's been bedridden. She's young. She's, I think, younger than me. And she's been bedridden with very serious illness. Very serious illness. And this was supposed to be ongoing, maybe indefinitely, for all doctors knew. It's it led to autoimmune diseases and underlying issues and lupus and all kinds of stuff combined together. And this particular friend of ours works with human trafficking survivors, and it's a tough visiting brothels, and it's a tough ministry. Very few people are cut out for this. We'll put it that way. And our friend was telling me that, did you know that Rachel's doing really well? And I was like, no, I hadn't heard that. The last I heard, she was not doing well at all. And she's like, let me tell you about this. So when she was at her last brothel visit, she was walking away, and somebody there, the owner of this brothel, said a curse over her. And she's like, we don't even really know what they said. And it was just like this brief, basically Beelzebub will be watching, or something like that, something ridiculous. And she didn't think anything about it. And so she's been sick for a while. It's been over a month. She's been bedridden. And somebody from her home congregation shows up at her house and says, I think that somebody said a curse over you. And that's why you're so ill. And that doctors can't figure this out. And she's like, that's funny that you mentioned that, because that actually happened. And for the next 2.5 hours, without ceasing, this woman and a friend of hers from church who she brought to Rachel's house, prayed over her. For 2.5 hours, they just poured over her and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and asked that God intervene, asked that, if there was a curse, that curse be lifted and that the health be restored. And she said, immediately after they left, she began feeling better. And it was like such a similar story that I experienced with our own sister Michelle, when Michelle just, started feeling better and got better and better and better, and every day she got better. And so to this day, and this, this all happened within the last 2 weeks, Rachel's doing really well. And it just blows my mind, and it shouldn't. And I think it blows my mind because there's so many fake faith healers out there, and people who claim, and that's not who these women were. They didn't claim to have the power to heal her. They didn't come, looking for some big miracle. They just simply said, we think there's a curse over you, and we want to ask that God remove that. We want to ask that God bless you in your doing. And that's my prayer for the church. And admittedly, I don't pray enough. I don't put enough stock in poring over the work that we do together as Christians. And I'm not saying that to like confess and anything like that. I'm saying that to just say I'm ashamed and I need to do better. And we all need to pray without ceasing that the doing that we do will be blessed by God. And that's the other side of that coin, is not the shame and guilting us into praying more. It's to say that God is an amazing God, isn't he? God is an amazing God. And I look at how God has blessed this congregation in our doing, and it blows my mind, and it shouldn't. But it blows my mind every time. And I can't believe the opportunities that God continues to give us to bless other people. And I want to pray that increase. I want to pray that we be a congregation that increases. I saw on Facebook there's a local minister and guy I know, and they're doing a building project, and the church is just growing, and they're raising all kinds of funds, and which is cool, and that's. I certainly would never look down the brim of my nose at people who do that. It's they've outgrown their building, and they're doing it where they're paying off the mortgage like pretty much as they're getting it, which is really cool. They don't want to have debt, and so in the process they're raising all this money. And this is right here in Somerset, and I know we all say to ourselves, "Well, we're in a poor community and it's a poor county, and we're doing the best we can." All of that is true, maybe except for the we're doing the best we can part. Because I'm looking at the amounts of money that they're raising, and he's very transparent about it, and he's putting amounts, and he's like, "Yeah, we just raised $68,000 again this past month." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And in my mind, I'm like, this is just how I think. I'm like, man, they're putting these hundreds of thousands of dollars, and potentially will be, when they finish the land deal and the new building on that property, will be well over $1 million. I'm sure of that. Well over $1 million. And they'll probably pay it off very quickly. And in my mind, I'm like, what if we put the same effort into asking people for funds, but we did it to fund helping people? We did it to do what we do best, and that's not, let's face it, we're not evangelists. We're not great evangelists that go out and just bring in loads of people and build a church and grow a church and outgrow a church. That's just not us, and that's all right. Do we still evangelize? Do we still talk to people? Absolutely we do. But our heart and soul at this congregation is blessing people who are in need. And I would love to see that increase tenfold. I had a phone call with Matt Perry this past week from Healing Hands International. And he's actually going to be here. He's coming from Detroit to Somerset. And we'll be here on the day of our walk, the Walk for Water, which is August 24th. And it was the first time we connected. We've played phone tag for about a month now. And so finally we connected on the phone. I think it was on either Wednesday or Thursday this week. And the first thing out of Matt's mouth is, he said, "Jimmy, how excited are you for this walk?" And I was like, "Matt, we are pumped. We are absolutely pumped." And he's like, "I am so excited to come to Somerset." He's like, "You have no idea." And I was like, boy, the first thing I'm like, I hope we don't let him down. But he was saying to me, I said, "Matt, we've never done one of these walks for water, and so I don't know what to expect." And he goes, "Let me tell you what to expect. You expect whatever God is going to do on August 24th. That's it." He said, "I've been at walks where we've had 15 people show up and not one person more, and we've raised every single penny for a well. $7,500, we've raised it that day." He said, "I've been at other walks where we have 180 people. And it's like they make banners, and it's like this great big huge pump fest. And we've raised money for a well. He said at the end of the day, he said, are you reflecting Christ, and are you putting your faith in him, that God will raise that money for that well? He said, if the answer to that is yes, you've succeeded. And he said, I am excited about that. I thought that's really cool. It's such a positive attitude, and it really ties into the scripture, especially verse 25. The one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and preserves, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing. Not blessed by other people, blessed by God our Father. God blesses us in our doing when we trust him that he will show up. We sung Holy Ground followed by Holy Ground, which, by the way, the singing, I could feel everybody's heart when we sung that. And it's amazing how that little bit of a shift makes such a big difference in the way that we sing to God. When we really believe that God is present, when we really believe that we're in the presence of God, God blesses that. I want to back up a little bit for the scripture. I'm going to fast forward. It's the same slide, but just a little further in the slideshow here. I'm going to do this, and then I am going to do something where I ask you all to get your phones out during the service. It's the only time I'm going to ask you to do that. But James chapter 1, backing up to verse 19, before we dump into verse 22, here's what James, the brother of Jesus, says. He says, know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. I talked about this during class this morning. People are so angry and agitated right now, just generally. A lot of people are keyboard warriors about all that's going on in the world, and their banging on keyboards doesn't change one bit about how people behave in the world. It's not, keyboards were not designed to change the world. So Paul says, be slow to anger, because this anger doesn't produce the righteousness of God. Verse 21, therefore put away all filthiness and rampant wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your souls. And then verse 22 in this section here that Cameron read. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks intently at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away and at once forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and perseveres, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing. That's not a suggestion. It's not a, he might be blessed. It's not a hypothetical. James is saying, if you act, if you pray and you act and you do that for God's kingdom with the word that he planted inside of you, God will bless that. God will bless that. And then the famous verses 26 and 27, if anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained from the world. That is pure and undefiled religion. Being doers, going out and actually helping people. That's why I lied. We're going to talk about this. That's why this is important. Loving your neighbors, the second greatest commandment. Loving God, teaching people to love God, to fall in love with God, and then serving others. We have to serve other people in their affliction. And right now there are a lot of afflicted people in the world. There are a lot of people without water. And I'm looking at this fundraiser that this local church is doing, and somebody asked the question, how do you raise so much money so quickly? I love the answer. Listen to this answer. Well, it's really quite easy and exciting. As a minister, I ask people to donate 1 hour of their week to God. 1 hour a week. And he said, what that means is, if you're working a job making 20 hours a week, I ask that you give $20 a week, 1 hour. That's it. Give 1 hour to God a week. Start with that. And then he said, we have a wheelbarrow that we went out and bought, a brand new wheelbarrow, nice, shiny, pretty wheelbarrow. And he said, we wheel it right into the auditorium. And we say, we're going to fill this with change. And he said, I notified the bank knows that I'm coming. They're aware. And he said, we filled that completely, heaping full. He said, I wheeled it right into the bank. He said, right there was over $3,000. He said, I sell scrap metal just for fun. He's like, I go around, I help people out by getting scrap out of their yard. I take it out. He said, right now I have $1,000 of scrap metal just heaped up that is ready to go to the scrap yard, and that will go towards this effort. And then he listed a couple other things, and I'm like, how cool is this? It's thinking outside of the box and saying, if we are doers, God will bless the doing. So I'm going to switch over now. David has the Healing Hands website up. I'll let you switch it over. Okay. So everybody get your phones out. If you have not registered yet for the walk, you're about to find out how to register for the walk. This is on August 24th. Even if you're not able to be here, you can still register and be a part of it. And here's how we're going to do it. By the way, we have 21 people registered for it already, which is really cool. So over on the right side, you'll see, let me close that again just so you can see what I'm doing. Over on the top right-hand side, those three little lines, click on those. Go down to where you see clean water. Under programs, or if you're in the South, programs. We have Alabama here represented, right? Program. You click on clean water, and then click on walk for water. And then up here where you see the blue things, click on find a walk. And you can either type it in or you can scroll down. I prefer to just scroll down till you find Somerset right there. Third one down, Somerset Church of Christ. And by the way, if you look at so far, we have $1,000 that was donated anonymously just by us launching this. I literally have no idea where it came from, and that's the whole point of anonymity. But how cool is that, right? We put this up, and we trusted that God would bless it, and we already reached 13% of our donation just by launching this website. What's that? Refresh it. I just refreshed it. Must not have registered yet. Do you see something different? We're at 15%? Huh. Okay, interesting. Well, apparently, just while standing here, it went up. Who did it? No, I'm just kidding. So if you click on the Somerset Church of Christ Walk for Water, it brings us up event details, August 24th. Registration opens at 9:30 a.m. That means here at the building. We're going to begin at the building, and we're finalizing our route. I'm probably going to finalize that today, just because if I don't, it's not going to happen. And you don't have to walk the entire time. We're going to try for a 4-mile route. But I'm probably going to do an alternative route that's shorter. So if you don't have the time or you just physically can't walk 4 miles, we'll give it an alternative route. But down here you're going to see a place to give. And you can give just this link to your friends, family, and I'm going to come up with a template for people that's, it'll be a script that you can literally copy and paste into an email and just hit send. Literally, I'm going to make it that easy for you. So you don't have to think about what do I say to people and how do I not sound pushy. You can create a team. On the right-hand side, you'll see teams. So we have Team Guyboer, Team Hinton, Team Ragsdale, and Team Weimer. Now, here's the fun part. You set a goal for your team. For our team, we set a goal. Team Hinton has a goal of $1,000, I think. Let me click on it. Yeah, so, oh, and look at that. $50 raised so far for our team. That might be one of the donations that came in. Here's the fun part. To the other teams, right? Like, competition is awesome. If you use positive competition, now we have a goal, and it's a race to see which team reaches their goal first. And
we're losing.
Oh no! Oh no! Who's winning? We got to step up our game, Eden. Team Weimer. They have doubled us. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Now, here's the cool thing too, is that it's not illegal to pump your own team. You can donate to your own team if you want. It costs $0 to register, so there's no fee to register. It's literally just a fun way to try to get competition going. And I think Jacob's back there on his... I think that's where that 5%... Who is? Everly's beating us. Let's look. So you can do individuals too within your team. And let's just see Everly. Everly's the one who got the $100. So I don't feel so bad that Team Weimer is beating us because your daughter's doing all the heavy lifting. So you can go down and let's see, how do you create a team? Because that's what I was supposed to show you. Here we go. Register to... So if you're not registered right now while we're sitting here, you can click on register to walk. And if you want to do just register as an individual, you will put your first name, last name, email. I'm not going to walk through this entire thing, but whoops. I don't know. Brenda asked me that question because the Guyboers did not set a goal for the kids. And so here, you want this stuff checked. And by the way, the t-shirt size, we're going to get t-shirts to wear on the day of the walk, but then Matt is going to take those shirts back with him because it gets very expensive for Healing Hands, and so they reuse the shirts. So unfortunately, we don't get to keep these shirts, but it's all right. Yeah, so down at the bottom here, set a fundraising goal. I would encourage you to do that for every single individual. Set a goal, whether it's $50 or I would aim high. I did an individual goal for myself for $1,000 because I'm like, you know what? Why not? And if you don't reach your goal, it's not a big deal. And so down here below setting a goal, you can say, I'm doing this not as a team, I just want to be an individual walker. Perfectly fine. Or you can join an existing team. So, so if anybody wants to join Team Hinton, for example, just as one example, you could join our team. Yes. All right. So you can join an existing team, or you could create a new team. So if you create a new team, say it's your family name, then once you create that, and by the way, you have to agree to the waiver of liability. That's just saying if I trip and fall, I'm not going to sue Healing Hands or the Somerset Church of Christ. And once you create your team, then you can register more people down at the bottom. And that's where if you want to add people to your group, your team that you just created, once you tick that, it'll ask you who you want to add to that. And then, yes? That is a good question. I'm going to have to read this waiver a little bit closer. Let's see. Look at my team now. Team Hinton. Maybe I need to refresh it. Once you create your team, or your individual, or both, you can either send a link. So I would click on Team Hinton, for example. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong button. Team Hinton. Still not anybody more there. I would share this page right here with people. So it's just the what's up in the address bar. Share this in an email, in a text. Share it with friends. Share it with family. Share it with other churches. And just ask people, one, if you're local, would you like to join and register and be a part of our walk? We're going to try to get as many people walking as possible, as many people registered as possible. But if you can't, would you like to help us beat the Weimers by donating to Team Hinton? And so by doing that, it just generates excitement. And what do people get who sponsor you? They get the excitement of contributing towards another well. And like I said, as we walk, I'm going to live stream at least some of that, just so that our donors. Do you have a question?
Well, maybe you can let people that are not like me know, not like trying to follow you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put your email in order to see anything you're saying.
Screechy. What was the question again?
It wasn't a question. It's like stupid people like me. I had no idea what you were talking about. I just now figured it out. You have to put an email in order to see anything that you're even talking about.
Okay. Huh.
So,
interesting. So you have to, apparently you have to put an email in. And that's probably just to receive updates,
yes.
Would be my guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I was totally lost.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I did not know that because I registered right away. So, yeah.
You said I was about to pull my phone out, you know, I pulled my phone out.
Okay.
Go to search on your search engine, and then type in Healing Hands International. That's the way you got to do it. You got to type that in first, and then get to the page.
No, whatever you said initially. I mean, I'm there. I never went to Healing Hands. Whatever this
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
is. Make a change, whatever you said.
Go to Healing Hands because it's on there. I just did that.
Yeah.
I know you didn't put up the.
Yep, I definitely recommend, and I'll link this website to ours too, to our church website, just to make it more visible, and it's just one more way to get to Healing Hands website. But I'm going to end with that. Hopefully some of you registered. I see that we got bumped $150 just since the sermon, so talking about it helps. And the more we talk about it, the more we email people, the more we say, hey, Grandma and Grandpa, do you want to sponsor Cameron? You know? Oh, you sponsored Cameron, but you left Isaac out. Do you want to sponsor Isaac? Yes.
Just a real quick question. So you're going to make a short route. I'm just thinking about bringing the kids. I might have a wagon and drag along. I just didn't know if I could.
That's a good idea.
So
Yeah.
I didn't know. Is it going to just be uptown?
Yeah. So we'll start here at the church building. We're going to register at 9:30. I personally, we're going to look, but there's almost 100% chance I would say that we're going to go up through town, like through uptown, so that there's more visibility. I'm still coordinating with the fire department. I would like them to fill our jugs and then carry jugs. Probably not for 2 miles that they recommend, because that's just a lot. I know. I mean, me and Xander will carry for 2 miles, and Cameron. But yeah, even if you want to carry it a block, carry a 5-gallon jug a block, I'll coordinate that with Matt, and we'll have people to pick up those jugs, or we can dump them out and carry empty jugs back to the fire hall, and we'll work that out. But I'll have a short route so that we're not running like maniacs and losing people. Absolutely, yeah. So I'll be sending emails out this week and just updating everybody, but please register. Please be here. Please get word out. And that's your message today. Be doers, and God will bless you in your doing. If anybody has not yet responded to the gospel in baptism and would like to do that, or if you have prayer needs, we'd encourage